Hello everybody and welcome back once again. My name is Jordan, also known as JMonster, and today we'll be returning to 3rd Age Reforged. I know the Reforged is near and dear to the hearts of many of you, and so are sieges in particular. So that's exactly what I have for you today. A 3 versus 5 siege on the, I think it's MISTRAND or Merlon, I don't know. It's some Easterling city in the middle of nowhere that people love to spill gallons of blood over. But in any case, let's jump into it. I hope you guys enjoy. And so let's take a look at some of the army compositions before the defending armies scatter to the four winds and support each other and try and cover all of these choke points. So the first army we have here is the Army of Harad, being commanded by Eclipse 2500, who actually sent me this replay, so big thank you to Eclipse for keeping me in mind. He's brought Muhad Beastmasters. I think he's only got one or two of them. It might actually just be one Muhad Beastmaster. He's got Trollmen. He's got Southron Pikemen, all the greatest hits here from Harad, Muhad Berserkers, Champions of Nafarat. I know he's got Dismounted Serpent Guard with their armor upgrade. There's definitely some Demons of the Desert around here. There's a couple companies of the Southron Archers as well. More Muhad Berserkers, some Beast Hunters, these being the Javelin units. Southron Archers, a Catapult, and some Heshari Shadows. Actually a really nice unit to have in a settlement like, I think this is Merlon or Mistrand or something like that. Because there are so many potential areas that you can exploit that body piercing, and you can get around really, really quickly when you're on horseback like that. Let's move on now to his ally, that being the army of this fellow here. That's a Mordor army. He's got Orc Javelin. I think he has 2 units of them, a couple companies of Moron Archers, 2 companies at the very least of Blackguard, perhaps even a third. Nope. Got some Sauron's Will here. Temple Guard. I know that he's got the there's the Temple Guard and there's the Temple Executioner, so he's definitely got a unit of them as well. There's that second company of Orc Javelins, Mornon Halberds. More Mornon Halberds, Olokai. Big little unit of Olokai. In fact, I think there's 2 units of Olokai in there total. And 2 companies, no less than 2 of the Temple Executioners. So a lot of elite killing power has been kind of focused in this army. He's also got Uruk Captains, Temple Inquisitors, and we maybe can't see them, or they're just mixed in here somewhere. But he does have some Adunayim Shadow Bows as well, which I wasn't aware that Mordor still had. I didn't realize they had Rangers in addition. Moving on now to the third and final defending army, that being commanded by Sin of the Dark Cloud, one of the lead developers for 3rd Age Reforged. He's brought Brotherhood of the Sword, 2 companies of them. He's got a Hwacha. I know he's got a unit of Knights hanging out around here somewhere. Beriag Warriors, looking like they have their armor upgraded as well. 2 units of them there. A unit of Nomadic Marauders, 2 in fact. And we have some Nomadic Raiders down here, so these are more of a light, lower tier bowmen. Up here, we've got Nomadic Axemen. Yet more Nomadic Axemen. Beriag Cataphracts, as I mentioned. Nurad Footmen, Nurad Halberds, and a couple of Beriag Bowmen here as well, looking like they have an armor upgrade. So a pretty, I almost say pretty standard army. The Mordor army is obviously very stacked. But this army is a little bit more traditional. It's got the Nurads, a new kind of Nurad front line, which is just so durable. We've got some Storm Guard up here as well. So we've got Storm Guard Knights, Beriag Warriors. All in all, it's a fairly reasonable army. The only thing that really stands out here is the 2 units of Brotherhood of the Sword. And from what I recall, he's actually got a unit of the 2-handed axes around here as well. Ha! I almost missed him. There you go, the Brotherhood of the Axe as well. That's going to do for the defending army compositions. Let's see what the attackers are bringing to try and knock down this mighty edifice. I mean, 2 units of Temple Executioners? They better have something nice. Moving counterclockwise, we have 2 Gondorian armies, one of which is being commanded by, oh, what do you know, it's Caradol. Caradol's one of the longtime developers for 3rd Age Reforged. Kind of comes and goes a little bit, so I'm surprised to see him here today. Pleasantly surprised, no doubt. He's got Axemen of Lasarnak. He's got some Marksmen here of Karandros, 2 units of them. He's also got Pelargia Marines, 2 companies. Some Citadel Guard, 1, 2. Oh, he's just got 1 Citadel Guard, 1 Nimlothian Honor Guard. And the Vanguard of Elisar, apparently having been brought back from the dead. I believe this unit is being removed in the next patch and replaced with another 2-handed unit. Also got a Trebuchet. Those are the Marksmen we already mentioned. Some Gondor Militia Archers, more Axemen of Lasarnak, Gondor Infantry, 4 units of Gondor Infantry. No spears so far, at least not any non-elite spears. Interesting. I'm going to pop over here to the 2nd Gondorian army, this one being commanded by Tundra's Fox. He has 1 unit of the Veterans of Osgiliath here. He's got some Gondor Militia Infantry. He's also got a couple units of Spearmen here, which he's kind of vanguarding out in front of his army, probably to defend from cav charges, maybe lock down 2 of these approaches into the city, which he possibly plans to assault. Gondor Militia Archers in behind them. Gondor infantry, a big old line of them, probably about 3 units just at a glance. Another 2 companies here of Gondor archers, some Raven helms, nasty 2-handed swordsmen. He's also got axemen of Sarnak. Looks like a bunch of them, like at least 2, maybe 3 units. I think it's just 2 units spread out awkwardly. A unit there of guards of Osgiliath, some wardens of the White Tower, and I think that's pretty well it, unless he's got some hidden Athelian Rangers. I think he might. Pretty sure he has some Athelian Rangers in there as well. Let's pop on over to the other side. And here we have an Elven army commanded by Dark Elven King. This is the realm of Lothlorien. He's got Kindred of Celeborn. He's got Lorenon Swordmasters. Ooh, some Karis Galathon Guardians. How lovely. More Lorenon Swordmasters. And another company of Karis Galathon's Guardians. Ooh, must be the elite army for the attacking forces. Lorenon Archers, Lorenon Axemen, March Wardens of the Wood. Oh, they're so lovely. I love these units. I think he's got Rangers somewhere. I could be incorrect in that. But he definitely has Riders of the Golden Wood, more Lorenon Axemen, some Spearmen, 2 companies of the Spearmen. Altogether, a pretty formidable army. Now we have 2 I was going to call them Doriath. Dorwinian. 2 Dorwinian forces. Elvelyn Vanguard, 2 units of them. More Elvelyn Vanguard. Nandor Glade Guard, who are actually a really cool unit. So they're light infantry, 2-handed light infantry. They're locked morale, they're armor piercing. I think they have a minor bonus against cavalry. Just really nice shock troops. They're quite expensive, but you can use them as a spearhead of assault, so you don't have to feel too bad about it. More Quindy Pikes, nice thing to have. More Quindy Bows, 2 units of the more Quindy Bows. Catapult here. I think he's got, yes indeed he does, Elvelyn Hammer Guard, who got a bit of an overhaul in the latest patch, thanks to Sin of the Dark Cloud. They're now a 1-handed mace unit instead of a 2-handed one that they were before. Elvelyn Infantry. Thing to note about the Elvelyn is that they are not exactly damaging, but they have really good defensive stats and really good morale, so they're not super easy to send running for the hills, squealing like little pigs. So 3 additional units there. And a 4th one, so a lot of Elvelyn Infantry. Not so many of the spears. Let's pop on over to the 5th and final attacking army. It is, as I mentioned, another Dorwinian army. Kelvin River Patrol, 2 units of them here. Nandor Glade Guard, and they're being paired with Elvelyn Infantry. That's actually a really potent combination, to be perfectly honest. Lumbermen, 1, 2, 3 Lumbermen. A bunch of Marksmen, and some Vine Guards. A little bit more, I would say, numbers heavy. Unless he's also got... Does he have any Glade Masters? I think he may have some Glade Masters in here as well, so he does have a elite bodyguard unit. It's not just all mid-tiers with some high tiers mixed in there. But the Keldon River Patrol are actually kind of nice in sieges because they are javelin men. So that is going to do for the army comps. Let's jump into this. So Tundra's Fox has moved forward with his 2 companies here of the Gondorian Spearmen, locking down these 2 approaches, making sure that nobody's going to be able to get to come down here, rush them with cavalry. So the Dark Cloud has some knights, for example, that could potentially be a big problem for him if he didn't have these spears here to kind of guard the passes. I got some Gondor militia archers here that are kind of breaking off. I wonder what the intention is with them. Perhaps to move up into here as support. Oh, that is quite dangerous, though. There's a couple ways on there. The Gondorian militia archers are, as you would expect, not exactly amazing in melee. So perhaps some early overextension here from the Gondorian army under Tundra's Fox. Let's see how everyone else is doing. Second Gondorian army, moving in slowly through the passes, but it's a much more, I want to say, comprehensive advance. Tundra's Fox has like 4 units out in front of his army, and the rest of his troops are slowly but surely moving up behind. Carindol is coming in with everything that he's got, so there's going to be no opportunities for, well, very much slimmer picking, shall we say, when it comes to catching him out with just that single unit of cavalry that Sin of the Dark Cloud has at his disposal. And the other army here, I believe this is one of the Doriath. I keep wanting to call them Doriath. It's going to happen a few times, so prepare your ears. The Dorwinian army is going to take this approach here, I think, and they're going to have to come all the way up and around. That's going to be brutal on the fatigue for those units, but it will give them a nice little back door right to the heart of the defense here for the Well, for the defenders, of course. And I think we maybe have a little bit of early action over here. No, still just in that maneuvering phase. We're going to go ahead and speed it up just a little bit, and we'll keep an eagle eye on that map. Over here, yeah, this is again their forces just slowly moving up. The army, I believe, that was under. Oh, I can't remember who it was at this point. I think it's Mevin. So Inarius, already in position. He certainly has the easier approach, at least in terms of the steepness of the path that he has to get here. And there's not. Well, there is some stuff. Whether or not this is enough to take on an entire army, I question that. But there are certainly some stout units here. Hashwari Shadows, for example, Temple Inquisitors. Oh, I think I forgot to mention the Temple Inquisitors. Indeed. No, I might have mentioned them briefly. This guy has some heavy cavalry there at his disposal. Those are melee cav. Over here, it seems that Eclipse has opted to move up onto this hill. This is actually a very... Look at this. I wish I could flash this. I don't know if you guys can see this as well as I can, but this is a very cool deployment. They're kind of covering a lot of different angles here. They've pulled... Sin of the Darklight at least has pulled most of his forces back up here. And there's still a lot for them to cover, but there's far less than if they tried to fight on this lower level here. So I think that that's probably the play, is to try and pull back to a position where you don't have to defend quite so many approaches. That can only ever favor the attackers, who certainly have the manpower to outmaneuver you if that was the course you chose to take. So Thunder's Fox slowly advancing up here. Most of his army is still lagging behind. Got some Gondor Spearmen hanging out. Probably some militia archers nearby. Yes, indeed. I see they've just taken a different path here. It might have just been the AI pathfinding that created this oddity from before. Carindol has now moved in. And he's going to be heading up against Sin of the Darkcloud. And this is more than just a figurative uphill battle. He is going to be fighting uphill against armor-piercing Nurads. Both varieties have an armor-piercing value, so that's a big problem for the Gondorian infantry, who rely quite heavily on their armor and their shields. And there's plenty here to be a pain. Got some javelins as well, the Nomadic Marauders, Nomadic Raiders. Very, very scary. At least for Gondor. What do we have over here? Some early cav action. Riders of the Golden Wood have already made it into the city, kind of vanguarding themselves. And you know what? I bet you that they go after those Hashwari Shadows for sure. Yes, indeed, they're definitely a big threat. No, apparently I am mistaken. They don't care about the Hashwari Shadows. I would definitely go for the Shadows. The Shadows have far more destructive potential than a unit of Temple Inquisitors, especially one that's got its armor upgraded. You're not going to be able to do too much, and you're not going to want to get into a fight with them either. So if this fellow here was willing to move forward and attack them, well, it would certainly drive them out of position, although, given that there are some Gondor Spearmen on the horizon, perhaps that is not the best plan. But yeah, I think Dark Elfin King definitely did not pick his targets well. The Temple Inquisitors, not really a threat, and now the Hashwari Shadows are going to be able to slink away. Just a minor early mistake, but still. Let's see what we got going on over here. A big push from Tundra's Fox, sending a lot of his chaff units up the hill here. It's already been secured by the Gondor Spearmen, and slowly but surely his troops are filtering into the city. Gondor Militia Archers taking point. Probably going to have a nice little skirmish fight here with these Mornon Archers being able to draw first blood. And despite that angle, they're actually managing to hit a good deal of those with Gondor Militia Archers. Kind of hand to the Orcs. That's a very good understanding of the physics of arrows if they're able to arc those shots like that. That is extremely skilled. Javelins over here. Sauron's Will. Probably not a bad target to shoot at. Maybe the Temple Executioners. No, probably not them. They have their armor upgrade. I think that makes them sit at about like 12 or so armor. It's significant. And those like 4 damage arrows aren't really going to be able to make a dent into them. But this is a good approach. Right into the heart of the defense, essentially, for the defenders. The heart being this like big plateau here. And I think that they're probably going to try to defend this at all costs. Ooh, Trebuchet accidentally destroying someone's living room. Oh. Such are the casualties of war. With Render's retinue. Oh, he has some cavalry as well. What do you know? I don't think this is where I would try to use my trebuchet. It is a good angle for them, like they are very well hidden, but quite far out of range. I would honestly just move up here. There's not really anything that they can do to kind of stop you. Ooh. That was close, going after the Uru captains. I don't really see the purpose of trying to hit a unit like this, though. It's very far away, it's obscured by terrain, and the Mordor player has very wisely put them into a long spaghetti formation. Artillery does have a lot of issues when it comes to hitting units that are spread out like this, so I don't really think that's a very good use of his ammunition. Meanwhile, over here, the skirmish fight continues, and the Gondor Militia archers are certainly getting the worst of it. Luckily, they do have heavy armor, and those shield values as well will contribute to their survival here, but now that they've turned around, they're not going to get it. So now they're going to inch around here and begin to pop off some counter volleys against those Moradon archers. This is interesting. This does present a certain danger to the advance of... actually, Tundra's Fox has come out this way as well. What do you know? Tundra's Fox has moved out here to support the Elven advance, and he's bringing up a fair amount of troops in the process, too. Gondor Infantry, Axemen of Losarnak, and the Lorien host from the woods is following close behind. But yeah, this is a nice little position for him to take, because they have to deal with this. And they're going to have to fight uphill, and it's going to be a friggin' nightmare. I mean, the Southron units and the troops, at least that eclipse his position here, are by no means his best. But there are pikes, there are some Serpent Guard, and there is that big hill to bear in mind as well, and there are a lot of missile units here, which can be very efficient. So this is exactly the kind of composition I think that I would deploy to defend a hill, if my intention was not to necessarily hold the hill at all costs, but rather to bleed my enemies of their strength as they attempt to take it. Because you can't just ignore this, because they will come from behind you. Yeah, very, very smart deployment there. What do we have here? It looks like Inarius' Dorwinian army has managed to make it into the first level of the city uncontested. And they're going to have a straight shot here. Again, to this central plateau. So depending on how they coordinate, this could be a really tough fight for the defenders. Ooh. A nasty fight developing here between Carindol and Sin of the Dark Club. I think... yeah, look at this support. That's just crazy. There's Orc Javies up there, there's Nomadic Raiders, more non-archers, and we got some Nomadic Marauders down here as well. This is nasty. This is a really difficult situation for Carindol to be in, especially with his AP front line. And he's a little bit blobbed up as well, which does make things a little bit easier for his opponent. Yeah, I mean, unless something changes here, if he like manages to maybe straighten out his line a little bit, then I don't see how he's going to be able to make it through. Oh, the Pelargian Marines trying to do their best, but they're just being focused down, and there's really not much they can do. Even when they have a chance to fire, another arrow volley is going to come in, disrupt them, stun the unit a little bit, and then another one will follow that up, and they're just not able to be effective. The angle's not great. They're being peppered down by arrows. Yeah, that's pretty tough. Simultaneously launching an assault on the other side with his second company of Pelargian Marines. These ones in loose formation, however, so good for them. Not gonna do them too much good, though. And there's Variac Bowmen up here. These are shielded heavy archers. They're able to fire into the flank and rear of his attacking forces. Oh yeah, and they're definitely gonna go after those Pelargian Marines. They are public enemy number 1 in sieges, really, are javelins, rangers, and anything body piercing, and I suppose artillery are up there as well, but they're harder to get your teeth into. Ooh. Pikemen here, Guards of Osgiliath. Kind of just sitting out. I would definitely have them on the front lines, maybe pushing on like the flank here. He's very stacked in the center, but I don't know, I think he could maybe win if he had his pikes here, pushing on the wing, pushing them back, and then rolling up the line and allowing his stacked center to try and surround any troops they had left behind, or maybe effect a breakthrough and functionally breaking that wing. So I think we've got some deployment issues here for Carindol for sure that are going to hold him back and potentially prevent him from being effective in this fight. That being said, he doesn't lack for numbers. Gondor Militia Archers pouring in. I think I saw maybe some Marksmen of Carandros as well. Yes, indeed. Though they've taken quite a beating. Oh, what do we have up here? Trebuchet. I think they're being fired at, possibly by the Temple Guard. Trebuchet might be out of ammunition in any case. It kind of looks like it is, maybe. Threndir's retinue, still going strong. Let's pop on over to Tundra Fox's side of things. Still a skirmish fight so far. Trying to waste some of the ammunition here. The Mordor players just kind of blowing his whole load on the Gondor militia archers. And they, I believe, are targeting down this big old blob of elites here. So they've managed to kill a few of the Sauron's. Well, there goes another one. You can see a few of them face down in a pool of their own blood. Temple Executioners, I'm sure, will be fine. They're kind of standing behind them. You can really tell who wears the pants in the Mordor hierarchy, because the Temple Executioners are not out front there. Sauron's Will are just taking that on the chin. Blackguard deployed in some pretty good places. One unit here, another unit here. This is going to be tough for Thunderous Fox to get through, I think. There's not nearly as many defending units. I mean, naturally, there's not as many defenders in general, but relative to what he has to push through here with, there's not a huge number of defenders, but I think they have got the deployment and the unit composition to really make things difficult for the Gondorians. Thunderous Fox has moved forward here with his Gondor Spearmen, locking this area off, a little bit of area denial. Really good job on the part of Tundras. And the Darwinian army is maybe waiting for some of the stragglers to get up here. Yes, indeed, that seems to be the case. Well, let's go ahead and see what the other Darwinian army is up to. It looks like they managed to reach the top of the pass in relatively good order. Fatigue is alright. On these lower tier units, it's not going to be nearly as good. Yeah, there's the Glade Masters. See, I knew they had some. Marksmen are going to be fine. The Elvellan units will do perfectly fine going up this hill. They'll be like active by the time they get up. Whereas the lower tier units are winded. Yeah, my game is in French. I know. That's a lot of Glade Guard, though. Very scary army indeed. But it seems like things are starting to happen over here. Thunderous Fox has now engaged the first wave of the Mordor. I would almost call them the Mordorians. The Mordor army, the orcs, the scum of the earth. And they're clashing with Gondor militia infantry. Ravenhelm's up here as well. I don't know if I throw the Ravenhelms in this early, although not currently anything other than these javelins that pose a serious threat to them. The Blackguard of Barad-dûr, definitely want to watch out for them. They can roll up a line very, very quickly. It's a unit that can get a ton of kills. Ooh, catapult shots coming in. Brutal. Yes, reaping a bloody toll from amongst the ranks of these Gondorians who are a little bit bunched up. Got some spearmen over here looking like maybe they want to mass push through and try and break up this line of Sauron's Well. And they're actually losing here, believe it or not. Report up there from the Gondor militia archers is certainly taking its toll. Oh no, the Blackguard. Yes. The Spearmen and Shield Wall have fantastic mass, and you can use it to push through enemy formations, but the Blackguards simply have more. And you can see that they're just kind of tossing units into the air. Yeah, there goes one. And muscling their way through that formation. That's not good. Thunderous Fox needs to respond to that in some way. Getting his oh, this is Carindal's bodyguard, actually. But getting his general or some sort of morale supporting units. I think he has some veterans as well as Gileath, for example. Would be very important. Oh, goodness. At the same time those javelins come in, the Blackguard are just muscling their way through this line, slaughtering the Gondorians with just pure mass. Yeah, that's a very tough situation indeed.
Enemy are badly bloodied. They have lost half their men.
What do we have here? Some elves and men moving to take this hill. It looks like the pikes kind of gave it up without a fight. They're going to move up here instead. Interesting. It does kind of expose them a bit to potentially some arrow fire from down here on the ground, but I think that Thunderous Fox is a little bit too busy. Oh, the Hwacha coming in! Doing a ton of damage here, and the morale of these poor Gondorians is just going to waver and plummet, and now those Gondorian spearmen are fleeing for their lives. And the Gondor militia infantry going to move in there to try and plug the gap, but they're militia infantry. They might just come toe-to-toe with these Temple Executioners, although they are pulling back. Mordor troops sallying forward. Oh man, those Blackguard. They've taken almost half casualties, but the impact that they've had is just, it's very, very visible. They've pushed back that entire line pretty well on their own. And now the Mordor player is going to try and preserve their numbers, perhaps, get them out of there, and wait for the next assault from Thunderous Fox, which will inevitably come. Gonzalez Gileath. I knew he had some Athelian Rangers. Of course, of course. There's still some other solid reserves. These spearmen will almost certainly reform. I would be shocked if they didn't. There's 102 of them in there. They've only routed once. They will for sure come back. Carindol, let's take a look at how Carindol is doing. It's not looking good for Carindol.
They have cut off the serpent's head.
Yeah, there goes Carindol's general. It looks like the Nimlothian Honor Guard have been on the front lines this whole time. And the Militia Archers being thrown in, they don't like it, and they're actually going to rout there. And that might cause a wave of fear to percolate throughout this line. We could see a mass rout here from Carindol. Losing his general this early on is a very bad thing indeed. Oh no. And this is where it begins to get really ugly, because he was losing even heavier over on this side, and that's going to allow Sin of the Dark Cloud an avenue to bring out his cataphracts. And this is it. This is perhaps game over for poor Carindol. Well, they might try to pop off a volley into the cataphracts. That would hurt if they were able to get that done. Oh, maybe. Come on, guys, do it. Do it for the king. Uh-oh. I think they are going to get caught here. Maybe. They're trying. No, they're definitely going to get caught by those cataphracts. I'd be shocked if they managed to make it in here. Yeah. They're not going to, unfortunately. And now the Gondorians are breaking through. And now those Marines are in a pretty bad state. Oh yeah, they're definitely going to rout. Units routing through them, being attacked by some very scary cataphracts. They don't have a hope of beating. I think this might be the end for poor Carindol. Oh yeah, and a mass rout over here. Look at that. Gondorians fleeing by the hundreds. Some of them rallying, or maybe the militia archers now just being thrown in, but they're already routing. The presence of so many of their fleeing comrades, and the fact that they are militia and they're already a little bit tired, it's not going to go well for them. What do we got here? Marksmen of Carandros. They'll stand and fight, for a little while at least. These Variag warriors might find that they've bitten off more than they expected from a small unit of elite swordsmen like this. Some of them beginning to fall. Militia archers being thrown in alongside the Citadel Guard, who are still holding strong. Carindol desperately trying to reinforce his line. Some of these units are rallying. Yeah, we're seeing some of them begin to rally and come back onto our infantry. I don't think that's gonna end well for Carindol. We'll come back and check on him in just a moment. Moving over here to Tundra's Fox, he's having a little bit more luck, managing to push through here, but the damage done from that artillery and those supporting units, you gotta hand it to the defenders so far. They've supported each other very, very nicely, and they've chosen their defensive positions wisely. In addition, this is certainly not going to be an easy fight for the attackers, not at all. More Blackguard coming back. And the Gondorians are starting to take it through quality here. Yeah, see, those spearmen came back. I figured they would. Militia infantry just kind of stationed there. Oh no! The bell tolls for them, and the Gondor militia infantry are going to find themselves face to face against some angry Numenorians in the service of the Dark Tower. Those Temple Executioners are going to rip and tear until it is done. Those Gondor militia infantry stand no chance whatsoever. Now finally this Dorwinian army is beginning to move in. They may have sent some troops over this way. I think it's possible they tried to come to the aid of Mevin. Mevin is now moving at the same time, so the Dorwinian, I keep wanting to call them Doria, the Dorwinian armies are reasonably, at least at a glance, they appear to be reasonably well coordinated in launching their assaults both at the same time. We'll see. I think that there's a way to get through this building here, indeed. So they will be able to kind of fight their way through here. There are some Harad troops that are stationed there as well. We have another option to try and push through here. This, I don't know. Neither of those two entrances look particularly attractive. I might have gone a different way if I was Mevin and kind of avoided these altogether and maybe just moved in on my allies' side and just tried to push the sheer numbers through these areas, but it is what it is. Pikemen here from Eclipse moving forward. And I want to see how these things how the fight on the hill here is going. The elves are now joined by some of Inarius' Dorwinian troops, some Gondor militia archers, and I think the elves are probably being held in reserve, maybe? Oh no, the poor March Wardens. You know what? He may not have rangers, but the rangers do look fairly similar to the March Wardens at a glance. So it's possible that Eclipse thought that these are rangers and he's just trying to focus all of his attention down on them. Hunter's Fox still in the game over here, though. Lots of elves nearby, so I think it's only a matter of time before Eclipse begins to lose this hill. Those Elven infantry are just muscling their way in, pushing through the Southron pikemen, assisting the Lorenon axemen as best as they are able. And I think that inevitably this is going to turn into a defeat for Eclipse, but this is just a distraction. This is the aperitif before the main party, if you will, or the main course. And that's going to take place elsewhere. Tundra's Fox sort of managed to stabilize things a little bit, but he's getting hammered over here for sure. Kondish troops, along with Haradrim, have now joined the fray against the Gondorians, and they are finding themselves hard-pressed indeed. Got to hand to the defenders. Again, they very rapidly reinforced this area when it looked like Tundra's Fox was beginning to wear down the Mordor troops that were garrisoned here. Let's check in on Carindal. Yeah. There's some Variag warriors kind of prowling in this graveyard where Carindal's army was put into the ground. I don't think we'll see anything else from him. Indeed, over here he's been beaten down as well. That being said, there are a fair amount of Kondish dead. It didn't amount to nothing, and if you look at the percentages there, about a 5% difference between the defenders and the attackers. So, he did well-ish. That was a hard fight for sure. But I think that there are a few issues that plagued him and prevented him from being as successful as he might have otherwise been. Oh, nasty. So now that Carindal has been pushed out, Tundra's Fox is now very exposed on his left. Sin of the Dark Cloud is already taking advantage of that. Variag Cataphract cycle charging into these Gondorian archers, who were basically full health before, I believe. And now they're pushing against the veterans of Osgiliath as well. Tundra's Fox does have some spearmen, perhaps, nearby? No? I think he might have some Fountain Guard somewhere. Yeah, he's got Fountain Guard over here. I don't know why he wouldn't bring this forward to try and defend this this pass here. Unfortunately, some not great map awareness there on the part of Tundra's Fox. Yeah, now's definitely the time to move the Fountain Guard over, and I think he recognizes it, but it's already a little bit too late for these Gondorians, so I think I've lost about 2/3 of their number, out of the Gondor Archer unit at least. Gods of Osgiliath have now begun to move forward, and Tundra's Fox's first wave, and second wave I suppose as well, have been pretty well wiped out, and he's in a bad spot. Tundra's Fox has a couple of options here. I think he's going to go for option B, but he could A, head over this direction, try and regroup with his allies, which is what I would do, for sure. I would fight a rearguard action all the way over there and just try and preserve my numbers as much as I can. Or he can try and make a last stand here, and use his hill to his advantage and try and bleed the Mordor forces as best as he can, which will lose him most of his army, but maybe ultimately the manpower losses that the defenders suffer will be worth it. It's hard to say. I mean, I guess there's an option C where he could do both at once, but I feel like he wouldn't be as effective in his last stand, and it wouldn't really make the loss of those troops worth it. But we'll see. We'll see what he does. Gods of Osgiliath falling back. Looks like Carindal's bodyguard is here. Yes, indeed. So Carindal is still in the game in some small way. And I think these guys are gonna mount a suicidal charge here into the Huacha crew. I mean, why not, I guess. Why not? Big ugly charge there. They're gonna be met by some of the... I think those are the Orc Javelins, indeed. And they'll get caught out here. They'll take down some of the Huacha. I think they killed like 28 of them off that charge. Like, that was significant.
Our enemy flees before us like a herd of goats. Drive them from the battle.
But unfortunately, that'll be the end of them. I think that's all of Carindal's army now. Tundra's Fox gonna want to pull back his militia archers, try and get them over here. Veterans of Osgiliath over here as well. I don't know. I would use this opportunity. I would throw my spearmen and my pikes under the bus and just run as fast as I possibly can. Fountain Guard are still here as well. But yeah, I would get out of here. I would use my pikes to defend my rear against the one unit of cav that Sin of the Dark Clouds has. And just preserve our numbers. But we'll see how that turns out for Tundra's Fox, and ultimately for the defenders as well. Nah, that's not quite half. I disagree with you there, announcer. So Honorius has now moved in. It looks like Mevin is trying to What? I mean, I understand the impetus. The demons of the desert are a high priority target, but fire arrows? Like, that is not a good angle. Maybe he just left them on fire at will and he didn't realize it. That's probably what happened. Well, he hasn't begun to move in just yet, but neither have either of the Dorwinian armies, to be fair. I think he might still be marshalling some of his forces up from the pass. Indeed, that appears to be the case. Unless he's tried to go around this way. It's a long way around. But it would offer a little bit of protection to his allies. Ooh, nasty. Trying to go after the catapult here from the Haradrim. Exchanging volleys as the Elvelen move under cover of artillery fire. Let's go ahead and turn things up to full speed. I think he managed to get some of them. Ooh, brutal. That hurts. Look in the distance there. Oh yeah, I can see a few people like flying in the air. That artillery piece definitely found its mark, and now they're going to try and get out of there, which is a good idea. The Elvelen will push through there very well. If they are used as pushing units in shield wall, they'll push through that line of spearmen very, very quickly and catch that artillery piece and silence it for good. But it doesn't look like they'll have the opportunity. The MISTRAND Chosen, just a damn nice unit, I have to say. They've been recently redone by the Karen Koma, and he always does amazing work. And this unit is, of course, no exception. But they're holding the line alongside some of the halberds. This is going to hurt, I think. There's a lot of scary units in here, and again, they're kind of blobbed up. Well, the lumbermen being used in sort of a flanking attack here. Oh, but they're taking it on the chin from some archers, some Moran archers stationed up there on the hill. I think they might be able to run up there. Indeed, they are able to. Just a few of them, and those fire arrows, I think they might rout off here. Yeah, for sure they're going to. This is not exactly the kind of unit that can stand up to arrow fire and to heavy pressure without fleeing. These lumbermen down here in the valley, however, maybe they'll get some value off them. Seems like they're charging into their own troops almost. But they have managed to surround the MISTRAND Chosen over here, and it's certainly an effective unit to use against them. Oh no, and that is lumbermen no longer fighting to the death. Now they're fighting to the death again. There's no supporting units up here, which I think is going to be significant. What we got here? Muhad Beastmasters. Yeah, pikes moving for an encirclement. And I think that the Dorwinian army under Inarius has kind of stuck their neck out a little bit too far here. And they're definitely in danger of having it cut off for them. Oh no, more Blackguard pushing through here as well. This is actually really nice coordination, so they've managed to kind of swarm over the Dorwinian right flank, and now they're pushing through their center. Oh, look at that. That's horrendous. Dorwinian units being bowled over. Some of them will get back up, but this is looking like a disaster for them. And now the Mordor player is going to continue to roll up the line here, just using those Barad-dûr Blackguard as a wrecking ball, and it is super effective. That's bad news bears for Inarius, and I think we're going to start to see these units begin to rout. Lumbermen routing, these guys being backed into a corner, and there's no support, there's no help forthcoming. I don't know where the rest of his army is. They could be up here on the hill, and they've managed to almost push through this hill. But yeah, his forces down here, there's a very heavy commitment, and it didn't really gain him a whole lot. Well, maybe they'll recoup some of those losses there, but no, doesn't look like it. Bit of an anemic volley there from the catapult. Largely ineffective.
They lose their will to fight.
But they have managed to take the hill at least, so Eclipse is going to suffer a few, maybe about 1,000 or so troops dead here on this hill, which, you know, works out nicely for them. It's not something 1,000 troops isn't something that you can necessarily casually throw away, but I think in this case it's alright because they've already done so well against the defenders. They've managed to wipe out one army entirely, which is very significant, and inflict heavy losses onto the Dorwinian troops. That's like 5 or 6 units from Dorwinian, like maybe even more, maybe even as high as 7, which is nearly half their army. Now these guys being the defenders, are going to mount a counter assault here. I love it. I love how fluid this siege is. We're going to come back to this. I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. I just want to take a brief look at what's happening elsewhere. I hear the sounds of battle, so it looks like Mevon's Darwinian forces are now contesting the ground here with Eclipse's Herodrum. They've managed to make it through, but they're slowly making progress. The Berserkers, well, they're nearly defeated. There's a whole other unit of them yet to come. Of course, there's some Troll Guard and nasty units here like the Demons of the Desert, so it's not going to be an easy fight for them. But I really want to see what happens here for sure. A big old charge, and I think maybe he's going after the Olokai, or perhaps the Minas Morgul Chosen in the back. I would have thrown some catapult shots right up the pipe here into this big advancing blob. Probably would have been a little bit more worth the time and the ammunition expended. Well, maybe they'll manage to get them this time. Nope, doesn't look like it. Those pikes being focused down on the South Run pikes. Oh wow, one or two artillery shots in this Minas Morgul Chosen is going to wipe out nearly 30 men from that unit. But still, I would have gone for these advancing troops here for sure. Bit of a standoff. They stare at each other, but the Herodrum are going to move forward and engage the thin silver line from Tundra's Fox, which is really the only thing holding on to this position. And Arias is now maneuvering some of his extra troops into the fray. Mark 20 pikes, bows are opening fire. I think they're in a decent position here. They've also got some of the Elves of Lorien nearby. But I want to know what's happening with poor old Tundra's Fox. Looks like his last stand is, well, it's certainly a last stand. His troops here are trapped. There's really nowhere for them to flee. Veterans of Osgiliath now being moved forward. I think that they're out of ammunition, so Tundra's Fox has at least managed to use the majority of the ammunition on his skirmishers, which is a good thing. And you can kind of see that for a while it looks like the shoe was on the other foot. This is probably where the pikemen made their stand alongside the Wardens of the White Tower, managed to bleed a good deal of Sin of the Dark Cloud's reinforcements. But now the Olokai have come forward and the Gondorians are just being crushed under the weight of numbers. The Fountain Guard, though, looking like maybe they'll escape. The Temple Guard were coming for them. Out of ammunition now, which is a good thing for the peace of mind of the attackers, certainly. No more armor-piercing arrows to worry about. Now they're going to turn around. Oh, okay, and then the Mordor player is going to pull out his Temple Guard. And so Tundra's Fox is going to be like, alright, now I have an opportunity to flee with my Fountain Guard. He's going to continue to do so. There's Osgiliath veterans holding the line, while the small remaining company of Gondor archers, I believe this is the unit that was harassed early on by the Knights of Sin of the Dark Cloud, is desperately trying to pick off as many of these troops as possible. But let's not linger there for too long. I want to know what happens here, and it looks like they're smashing through. Darwinian has thrown in some of their lower tier lumbermen, but there's a lot of pikes in here, a lot of higher tier infantry, some halberds as well, just a ton of pole arms. And again, the Black Guard of Barad-dûr doing work. Glade Guard being thrown in to try and hold on to the left, but in the center, or the right rather, but in the center and on the left of the Darwinian formation, things are just looking very grim. Lorna Axeman here, kind of advancing forward in a blob. Again, there's been a lot of blobbiness from the attackers. When you guys are playing in your own sieges, I highly, in fact, I plead with you, for the sake of your small digital soldiers' lives, to spread yourself out. Especially when you're using infantry, you're going to have more infantry attacking, you're going to be doing more damage, and you're going to be far less susceptible to mechanics that punish blobbing, like rangers, like artillery, all those things. It will make you a little bit easier to push through by a unit like the Black Guard of Barad-dûr, but in this case I think that's pretty well an inevitability. They've been used very, very aggressively, and it's paid off. They're just nearly unstoppable here. And they're taking some casualties as they try to muscle their way through the Elves, but Lorna and Axemen just don't like it. One of the reasons this tactic can be so effective is that it makes the unit feel as though it's being surrounded, so they will take a morale penalty. So even the high morale scores of these Lorenon Axemen units are not going to be enough to stop them from considering fleeing. Though as they push forward, they will make themselves a little bit vulnerable. A lot of missile troops here on the Lorien second line that can be used to great effect, especially when focus firing these blobs. And Lorna and Axemen are nonetheless managing to hold on. And there goes Tundra Fox's general. But yeah, things are looking grim over here for the attackers in quite a number of places. It's been a lot of costly victories, but victories nonetheless. Now these Gondor archers are all that's left. The veterans have been slaughtered. Those archers still trying to pop off shots, just desperately trying to make this sacrifice worth it, but they're eventually going to rout. They're going to go right through the enemy, and there will be no survivors. But, to be fair, he certainly put up a fight. This is where I think things were most effective, and then it was just Mordor troops catching his second line without them being able to really mount an effective defense. But here is where they really made them pay, and you can see dead from the defenders all the way up the hill here. Titanic struggle for sure. Well, let's check in on Mevin and see how he's doing. He's actually managed to push through, what do you know? He has hacked his way through the Berserkers. Looks like he has a little bit of support here from some of his ranged units on the ground. And the Berserkers are slowly but surely being beaten down. The high skill of the Elvelyn certainly contributes to this fact. But yeah, they're doing alright. They have more and more reinforcements, I think, that are moving through here. Yeah, see another unit of lumbermen. Basically exhausted. Not quite exhausted, but very, very tired. And they're not going to be super effective against these units, but hey, there's some numbers at least. Ooh. Nice little volleys there. Trollman of Harad moving in. That's going to be scary for the lumbermen. They might rout right away. Most of Mevin's army is just kind of holding steady, which is, I think, maybe a mistake. Oh, he's actually moving in over here as well. I know I would have chosen one or the other. I definitely wouldn't have tried to push both of them, especially, look at this. This is like a triple layer cake of doom. You got Minas Morgul Chosen on the front line, followed by Halberds, followed by Southron Pikemen. That's just a big block of AP, and the Elvelyn are not really going to have the tools to get through it. Even if they do, I mean, the losses are going to be horrendous. So I probably wouldn't have tried to push two really difficult spots. I would have maybe tried to open up this, and then moved over here with some of my other troops so that I'm supporting my allies in two separate places, instead of trying to wage, a one-man war against a choke point that I don't really think that there's a chance of him getting through. Let's pop down here. They've broken through. I think what's happening here, almost certainly, is that the Haradrim forces have pulled back a little bit to try and give better angles to the Adunayim shadow bows, and of course, to the Demons of the Desert. Although, from the looks of things, maybe the demons already popped off once here. It's a lot of dead Elvelyn, very, very close, closely packed heaps. I think we might have missed that volley there from Demons of the Desert, but yeah, it'd be like that sometimes. Over here, it doesn't... Well, maybe the Mordor assault was beaten back. The numbers don't seem to bear that out, though. No, it looks like they retreated. So they dealt a pretty heavy defeat to the attackers here, and then they decided to pull back and try and preserve their numbers, which is probably a good idea. Ooh, now that artillery piece is back online, though. That's gonna hurt. It's going after what, though? Hornet archers and other things. It might be that they're trying to hit the pikemen up here. I think that's probably more likely, and the artillery shots are just falling a little bit short. Let's see if they pop off another one here. I'd love to be on the front to watch that happen. Nope, doesn't look like it. Nope, they might just be out of ammunition, or they're just kind of holding position for now. And the Elves of Lorien moving in to relieve the battered Dorwinian and I think maybe Gondorian troops who are still remaining. I don't know what these Gondor infantry are doing. I don't think that they should be moving forward solo. It might be that Turtles Fox is trying to force his allies to move forward and support him, but they don't really seem inclined to do so. Got some troops here moving down from the hill. Yeah, Eclipse has been completely eradicated from there. Now we're really down to just a few different places where heavy fighting is taking place. One here. One over here. And then there is, of course, the struggle for this little area. Looks like some routing. Oh, goodness. The Trollmen of Harad are apparently reinforced by the Muhad Beast Tamers, which are probably troops that I think that were used in the assault on the Darwinian position earlier. They were brought up here, and they were able to handily see off Mevin's forces that were remaining. It's a tough one. Killed the river patrol. I think they used everything that they could, but it doesn't look like they were super effective. I don't know what they went after. There's a lot of dead Hashari shadows up here. Maybe they tried to use their ammunition on that. Possible. I don't think I would have, though. Yeah, see, this is just not worth it. There's no way that they can get through here. There's just too... The odds are just too high for Elvellyn alone. They are not killing machines. They are line-holding infantry. This is really just a waste of manpower. I think what should have been done is archers. A lot of these troops are fairly light and unshielded, like the Southron pikemen. The Mornon halberds are a little bit better armored, but they're still unshielded. But I think the play would have been to use the marksmen, use the Celtic River Patrol, to just deal what damage you can, and then don't even bother. Just get out of there. Maybe use a few troops to try and lock it down, so that your opponent is forced to keep his infantry here. Because if he doesn't, then you can move in for an encirclement. But I don't think I would have wasted hundreds of Elvellyn lives trying to take on a halberd and a pike wall. What do we got here? Gondor infantry, kind of up here on their own. Some Minas Morgul chosen coming in from the rear. I think these Gondorians are probably going to get caught out. Well, they managed to deal heavy losses to the Mornon archers, but they're already out of ammunition. So I don't really know if that's worth it or not. Are the Morgul's chosen going to get there? Yes, they are, and they're going to rout these poor Gondorian infantry off. Wonder if they'll start to fight to the death or something. Maybe. Kind of like they're switching sides for a second there. The Morgul's chosen are like, yeah, come on, buddy. You know you want to, and they're like, alright, fine. But no, they're now fighting to the death. Getting shot down by Variag bowmen. Honestly, that's kind of okay. That's defending arrows that you don't have to worry about hitting troops you actually care about. Hopefully they come back, though. 84 of them. They should come back. But again, I don't understand why there's no support here that's forthcoming from the Elves of Lorien. Their allies have suffered grievously. It's kind of now their turn to push in and to be aggressive. Now, naturally, you need to worry a little bit about some of the things that are up here. Demons of the Desert. There are also some rangers up here that they've seen. But yeah, now it's time for Lorien, I think, to be a bit more aggressive. What do we got here? A renewed assault. Some Glade Guard from Mevin. Just Glade Guard, it would appear. What's he doing over here? I hope he pulls out of this soon. Yeah, this is where it starts to get really, really ugly. It's just not worth it. This is just hundreds of lives wasted for almost no gain. But the Glade Guard, moving forward, through this position, they'll be able to take on the pikes. I personally wouldn't try and take pikes on with Glade Guard, but you know. Lorien and archers in a very good position to deal some serious damage to the Demons of the Desert, and I think that's the plan here. So good play from Dark Elven King. Catching one of Eclipse's important units out in the open like this, that's certainly a big lapse in micro from Eclipse. Oh yeah, and using the artillery as well. Let's see if they manage to get him. Oh, they might. Oh, that would have been such a good hit. Unfortunately, those hits from the artillery were just superficial, but that would have been amazing to cut down the numbers of the Demons of the Desert. It won't get rid of their ammunition, but it will cut down the amount of shock damage that they can do, the amount of damage that they can do very, very quickly. And there's like 75 of them in a unit like this. They can do a lot of burst damage, whereas if there's 20 of them, then obviously that is much reduced. And fire ammunition isn't the greatest option here. Just regular ammunition is a good deal more accurate, and it will still kill quite a few of them. Fire ammunition is a little bit greedy. So those Demons of the Desert are taking heavy, heavy losses, shaving off a lot of their HP as well, even if they don't die. And the attackers have rallied. Reinforcements here. Galathrim Blade Masters. Oh, I totally forgot about them. I think he's actually got 2 or 3 units of them in total. Kindred of Celeborn as well. So some reinforcements from Lorien moving in, but nothing decisive. Ah, the Fountain Guard made it! Hooray! Yeah, there's lots of troops here. Now's the time, I think. And now they're beginning to pull back. Demons of the Desert have lost about a third of their unit there. Fortunately, due to that lapse. Look at that. It's just so many dead demons. And every single one is potentially a life saved, so... Agenime Shadow Bows doing their thing. Glade Guards somehow managing to win out here against Trollmen and the Muhat Beast Tamers. I think the Beast Tamers are just really tired, though, which probably contributes to this. Yeah, they're exhausted. Marksman moving in alongside them to try and even out the numbers. But again, very blobby. He evened out his Glade Guard, but he didn't do the same with his Elvelyn Marksman. A lot of blobbiness, which is usually a sign of newer players. We got here 37 Demons of the Desert. Yeah, they've taken some serious losses there, and they're going to continue to do so as those Lorien archers pour fire into them. I think they've only used maybe 1-2 volleys at most. Yeah, that's a lot of value being lost from the Haradrim army right there. Oh, Axemen of Lasarnak coming in from the rear against the Southron Pikemen and the dismounted Serpent Guard. This is looking ugly. Pneumatic Marauder, some sort of the Dark Cloud being kind of thrown in there. Oh, the Temple Guard, though. That will help for sure. The Lathram Blade Masters, not sure what they're doing here, but they're definitely in danger of being shot to death. They're not super well armored. Yeah, look at the casualties that they're suffering. Those Variag Bowmen really doing a number on them. The Adonai bows here as well, probably firing down. I'd be shocked if they weren't. Yes, indeed. It's going to hurt the Blade Masters, and they're actually a really useful unit. They're very vulnerable to arrow fire, but they're actually quite good in melee. So to lose them like this, I think was maybe a little bit foolish. But like I mentioned, he has several units of them, so maybe it's not such a big deal. Baiting out some of those ranger shots, something you don't have to deal with a little bit later. Oh no, the Morquendi Pikes down to 4. What an intimidating phalanx that is. 4 guys with sticks. Oh no, the Blade Guard getting targeted down now. Very reckless use of their light two-handed units, I have to say. But, you know, if we look at what they have remaining, there's still quite a lot. The attackers are still in this for sure. 4% difference right now between both sides. This isn't nearly over. Oh, some reinforcements. Mornon Halberds being brought forth. Orc Javelins. A lot of arrow fire pouring in to this left wing here, and it's looking ugly. These guys still have ammunition? Nope, they do not. They definitely don't. More troops pouring in. Lorien archers out of ammunition. These guys are not, though. Oh, the artillery opening up. This is just a slaughterhouse. Gotta hand it to the defenders. This is some serious teamwork. A lot of focus fire here from like 2 or 3 different factions. And it's paying off. Look at the toll that this has taken. And these are good units too.
Only half our force remains.
The halberds certainly in danger of being overrun. Oh, another nasty volley there. Oh, that's gonna hit the halberds hard though. That'll definitely rout them. There's no way. Yep, there they go. So if they keep their momentum up, maybe they can get through and catch these Orc Javelins, but they're still going to be super exposed. I wonder if these guys still have ammo. Yes, they do. But now they're coming under fire from Lorien archers and some poison arrows, probably the Morquendi archers. And that's taking a toll. Up here, looks like Mevin is going to take it. He will actually be able to massacre his way through the Haradrim and open up potentially another front. And he's still got some good units left. Even if he has kind of wasted his time over here, some Kelduin units being thrown in now, they're really going to accomplish literally nothing. It's just unfortunate to see. But he's still got some good units. He's got Marksman, he's got some Ovelin, but I know he's got, yes indeed, Morquendi Glade Masters, a full strength unit out of the Glade Masters, plus a lot of numbers. If these guys were brought forward here and used to kind of attack this point all at once, they might be able to roll up the defending lines and then come from behind here, and then they wouldn't have to worry about, you know, trying to like push their way through a pike wall. And I think that was ultimately the play here. keep enough troops so they have to keep these units in position, and then when you're ready to sweep in from behind, then you throw your units in. And this phalanx will have no way to answer to it. Once the pressure begins to mount from your assault through here, then you can toss your units in. Well, the catapult winding up again. Let's see what happens. Oh man, they are just so thinned out from where they used to be. This is a big commitment from the attackers, and the defenders did a mighty job at shutting it down. Where is this going? Oh no, claiming the lives of some of the riders of the Goldenwood. Oh wow, a whole bunch of them died back here too. Dark Elven King just kind of casually leaving important units out in the open to get slaughtered. Very unfortunate to see. Still got Fountain Guard, still got these units. I think that they need to begin to move forward here a little bit, because there is actually an avenue of attack here that can be used by the defenders. Like, now's the time to commit, potentially. There's a big wide open space here. They could get all the way through here underneath the firing arc of the artillery if they come in with sufficient aggression and sufficient numbers to back that up. But a little bit too much passivity here, and just like moving units into a position where they can reinforce, but not reinforcing with them, just kind of leaving them out in the open to get shot to death. It seems like a very rookie mistake there on the part of Dark Elven King. Oh yeah, look at this. Yeah, again, why? These are really important units. They're super powerful. Why on earth would you leave them in the open like this to just get massacred? And like, maybe he was trying to bait shots, I don't know, but if you're trying to do that, put them in a thin line, don't put them in a big square like this. Yeah, it just seems foolish. Galathrim Blade Masters moving to try and kill some of these Olokai. Ooh, wow. Seems to be working. Two of those Olokai just went down in rapid succession. And the Darwinian forces are pushing forward here against Variag warriors, and they should be able to hack their way through there. I don't know, maybe there's not enough Glade Guard left. There's a lot of more Quendi bows, and they're no joke at melee. Oh man. Look at these Galathrim Blade Masters. They just like, they can take hits from an Olokai. They have the melee defense to do so. Yeah, this is kind of winding down a little bit. I think these Lord and Archers are... no, they still have ammo. What do you know? Champions of Nafarad up there? I'd certainly shoot at them. Marquendi bows have kind of helped to clear out the remaining defenders. And despite the heavy losses, it looks like they will take it, but I think this went way better for the defenders than it did for the attackers. Oh my goodness! Temple Executioners! And the Variag Cataphracts pushing in. And there goes Inarius' general. Why? I have to wonder why this was left open. Brotherhood of the Shadows here, which I didn't even realize the Sail of Dark Cloud had. I have to wonder why this was left open. But yeah, see, there's lots of infantry here. There's Fountain Guard back here. The Fountain Guard would have been perfect. They could have held this down forever. No one would have got through there. At least not for a very extended period of time. But now Inarius has unfortunately lost his general. I have to say, the attackers have been far less coordinated than the defenders so far. Still very even. There's a 2-army difference, of course, so it's about a 3% difference on the balance of power there. Galathrim Blade Masters and the Riders of the Goldenwood fighting as champions of Nafarat. What is the purpose of this, I wonder? Oh, going after the demons, maybe? I don't know. Maybe. It's a decent gamble. See how this works out for them. Let's pop back on over to Mevin's side of things. He might have a chance here to move in and support his allies. He definitely does, and so does Tartarus Fox. They kind of just missed an opportunity here to catch some champions of Nafarad out. And to slaughter them, to hold them in place while the demons of the desert were dealt with. But I don't think it matters. The riders are going to break. Just a pointless use of an ultimate loss of an elite unit. Dark Elven King being a little bit too frivolous for my liking with some of his important units. The idea was good, but there was no follow-through, you know what I mean? Not from him and not from his allies. What we got over here? More pointy bows. Chunking their way through the Temple Executioners. Only 11 of them left and will ultimately be overwhelmed. One lone Olokai in the back here. Being a nuisance. I suppose the Sarnak charging downhill, they'll probably catch an Olokai and kill him off. But what? We're kind of getting down to it here, aren't we? It's 80% to 84. Let's take stock of what each side still has remaining. We'll print things down a little bit so we don't miss too much. 2 Karis Guardians, I believe. There's a second one around here. Yes, indeed. We've got Lornan Swordmasters, Kindred of Celeborn, and some Fountain Guard. This is a solid little core here. And some Galathrim Blade Masters as well. Yeah, this is a nice little core. I think if they try and push up through here, this is definitely where they're quite weak. So Lornan Archers moving in. Again, this is just bad coordination and bad positioning. The Fountain Guard should be up here supporting. These Varied Cataphracts are going to run roughshod over these Lornan Archers and these Morroquendi Bows. And this is like a foothold that they have to one of the kind of weaker positions of their enemy. They do have some Rangers, but these Rangers have been firing for quite some time. And they had... well, I suppose they don't have any more Archers, but I think this is definitely one of the weaker positions. I would have certainly tried to push this. And with the help of Mevin, they'd have the numbers to do so, certainly. But it seems that instead they're going to commit to an uphill fight. You know what? Maybe. There's not really a lot up here. There's some Storm Guard, so if the Storm Guard are pulled off, maybe that would work. Like a two-pronged assault. Just need to be able to get up here and capitalize on this with numbers and not let their foothold go. But there's a lot of troops down here that could be used for exactly that. I'm just kind of sitting there. Again, don't get me started on this. They've managed to push them back. Now they're using their skirmishers, which is what they should have been doing the whole time. But look at the losses. That's just a lot of dead Elvellyn. A lot of purple cloaks on the ground there. I don't know. Both sides still have some really potent stuff remaining, and the defenders, of course, have a solid positional advantage. So some champions of Nafrad took some, you know, medium losses. And now these guys have managed to get up here, but like, what do they have to hold it? They've got some Keldwyn River Patrol and some scraps. Like, the Morroquendi Glade Masters need to be up here, for sure. They need to spearhead this attack into the rear, and they need to be like on the front lines, but they're just kind of sitting there not doing anything. And Mevin is just being very, very passive right now. And not committing the troops that he needs to. Over here, they've come in with the Blade Masters, and they're starting to make a little bit of progress. The Rangers up there are, of course, being a nuisance. But again, the Varied Cataphracts, they've been active for a very long time. You know, 1 or 2 charges you can kind of understand, but look at all these units. Finally, the Fountain Guard are coming forward. Got the Karis Guardians, all this other stuff. Like, they should be supporting this assault with all of their remaining stuff, and they're just not. They're just kind of trickling in. I don't know if it's complacency or what, but it's hard to watch. It's a little bit difficult to watch, to be honest. Let's take things into full speed now. Ooh, a cheeky rear charge here from those armor-piercing units. That's gonna suck. I would be shocked if they didn't kill off like 6 or 7 of these guys really, really quickly. Oh no, the poor March Wardens. Sword Masters, and now there's just nothing up here to like that can really deal with these cataphracts. Fountain Guard are moving, I suppose. The Karis Galathon Guardians are kind of just hanging back. So Dark Cloud is in some trouble here. I think he's got a gap though with which to escape. Yeah, he wasn't going to be able to get past the Fountain Guard for sure. But you know, these are losses. That split shot is certainly very nasty. Not going to do too much against the heavy armor of the cataphracts, however. And as I say that, 2 of them die. Of course. 16 of them now remaining. They're going to charge into the Lornan Archers. And this assault is just going to fall apart again. Ashari shadows up here. Obviously that's not a good thing. Let's see. Yep, predictably they were scattered. Because they just didn't have the troops up here that were needed. And like, where's the rest of Mevin's army while all this is happening? Doing nothing. Continuously trying to push through this choke point, which has seen the death of like half of his army. That's very questionable decisions here from the attackers. Well, some reinforcements at least. Full strength unit of Glade Guard coming through here. But they were needed yesterday, and now the defenders are going to kind of see the play here, and they'll be able to lock this down. Edunayim Shadow Bows at the very least are out of ammunition. Yeah, now's the time for a general attack, I think. Fountain Guard moving in. But again, they're unsupported. Where is his ally? What is this guy doing? It's really not... The play here isn't just to sit back and to kind of dither. These guys need to be moved in. They need to be moved in like now. There's decisive action that needs to take place here. Fountain Guard. Yeah, they're just kind of trickling in. They're just throwing away units that they need. Brotherhood of the Shadow could be easily shut down. At least there's some range support. Against the Trollmen of Harad, that's certainly going to do a decent amount. But like, where are the pikes? Where's everything else? Where's the attempt to kind of block down this this pathway in? Oh no, this Fountain Guard. I'm gonna lose them here. And they're gonna rout pretty well immediately. Yeah. It's almost a betrayal. I would go so far as to call this a betrayal while Dark Elven King just sits back and is passive and doesn't do a lot for his team and like throws, you know, one unit here and there into the fray and then just watches them die. It's not great. These guys need to work together, need to be, you know, a solid unified front. But we're just not seeing that. And now they've lost a lot of their manpower reserves. We've got some Kindred of Celeborn here. Karis Galathon's Guardians ×2, which is obviously, you know, nothing to sneeze at. But, like, where are the Swordmasters? The Swordmasters were over here, and I think now they've been destroyed, probably. Yeah, they kind of just fed those units to the attackers. Oh, okay, the Swordmasters are up here. But now, because they lost their foothold, they have to fight uphill against Stormguard, which is obviously not ever anything you want to do. Stormguard are super strong with that armor piercing and really high charge values. Lowland Swordmasters are going to struggle in this kind of fight, and yeah, they appear to be. This, I think, would, if you want to fight like this, maybe the pikes would be a better option, but at this late point in the game, I don't think I would be spreading my forces this thin at all. And then, of course, there's the Galathrim Blade Masters in the back, who they're getting fatigued by being here and being engaged in combat, but they're not actually doing any damage. Certainly a big mistake there. What do we have here? Darwinian units doing their best. Oh, an offensive by Mevin. Oh, what do you know? He will actually take this point. And, you know, maybe this is enough here, and he can come in from the rear and kind of even things out a little bit. But if that's a big if, like if they coordinate well. What is this? Oh, I see. They're going after the Champions of Nafarat. Not a bad idea. Where are his pikemen right now? Yeah, these pikes should be moving forward. Like, the attackers, or the defenders rather, are in total disarray. Those pikes moving forward, he'd be able to just push his way through here. They're super preoccupied with his allies right now. Mevin's on the offensive. His Swordmasters up here are at least presenting a threat. There's Glade Guard down here, clashing with the Trollmen. Now is the time. If there ever was a time, this is it, to bring those Galathrim Guardians forward, or the Karis Galathon Guardians forward, and begin to push. But just a lot of passivity on the part of Dark Elven King. And I'm really giving it to him, and if he's watching this, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean, but like, this was a big error, and you know, that's kind of the point of the commentary, is to point out things that you notice like that. Blade Guard pushing hard. Ashari Shadows still in play. Vine Guard massacring their way up here. Although I don't think a second company of Vine Guard is really necessary. No, actually they're all from the same unit, it's fine. Marksman moving forward, and where are the Glade Masters? Ooh, nasty. They're gonna get a piece of those Hashari. I'd be shocked if any of them survived this. They will manage to kind of nimbly skirt away. There's like 2 of them left. 2 plus an officer. Only 2 of them can actually shoot, though. Oh, the cataphracts, though.
They have lost half their men.
Yeah, and now they're shifting reinforcements here. They might just overwhelm Mebin's troops. I don't know. They might have the numbers. Now is definitely the time to pull those Vine Guard off of there. And get them down here and try and zone out that cavalry. Glade Masters managed to get a little piece of them. These guys are going to double back. Probably go for the Marksman. I think that's definitely the play. Ooh! Oh, they stopped instead of the Dark Cloud. It's going to need to move them quickly, and he is going to get out of there. It's okay. Brother of the Axe pulling back. Champions of Nafarat getting out of there. Adunam Shadow Bows now out of ammunition. Looks like they might get thrown under the bus. Everything's going up here. Oh, there goes Dark Elven King's general.
We must look to our own soldiers for victory now.
And now he's moving these guardians, but like, where was he 10 minutes ago? Pushing forward, like using the guardians as your front line, and then pushing forward with the Kindred of Celeborn, and going for some like meaningful shots, like going for some of the numbers here perhaps, would have been really strong. But now I think he's just gonna go up this hill while his ally is moving downhill. Just not really great coordination here. Something that certainly needs to be worked on. These Blade Masters are exhausted. They haven't even reached the front lines yet. I have no idea what he was thinking here. I think we should probably go ahead and put things up to 1.5 times speed now. Still a very close game. 5% difference. And I think that the defenders have managed to lead by about 5% for most of the game. Decent shots there. But not that great, right? Like, imagine if he was down here and, like, maneuvering around, trying to fire into some of these lighter troops, coordinating better with his allies. Like, the split shots against Brotherhood of the Sword would certainly go a much longer way, I feel. The Brotherhood of the Axe, for example, were definitely a big problem for Mebin's troops, and they have been victorious down here, and there's still a decent amount of Glade Masters. 37 is certainly nothing to sneeze at. But they're the only real killing power here. There's like Elvelid Marksman, Uruk Captains here being dragged down. There's like Elvelid Marksman, there's Vine Guard. Morquendi Glade Masters are really the only scary unit left, and they're at like a little bit over half strength. Support is needed. If they're working together with 2 units of Karis Galathon Guardians, that would be something. What we have here, some Glade Guard from Mebin being brought up here, and not... why? Why would you move up here and throw away a perfectly good unit of Glade Guard? They're not gonna get anything done in here. There's bowmen. There's enough troops to kind of deal with them. Again, the attackers throwing away their manpower reserves, and I think we're kind of reaching the point where it's critical mass, right? Oh, a charge from the rear by the cataphracts. There's Glade Guard down to 14 now. But yeah, I think we're reaching that point of no return for the attackers, where they've just made too many mistakes. Yeah, tossing Well, they seem to be winning so far. But those Blade Masters did nothing, and they were exhausted before they even got into battle. And they were fresh when they came up here. It's just, yeah, now it's starting to even out a little bit, and now defeat is certain. A really unfortunate use of the Galathrim army. They're the most powerful units in the attacking lineup by far, and they were just the whole army was just misused the entire time, except for a few instances. Little Hashari shadows up there taking pot shots at the poor pikemen. What are these guys firing at? Let's find out. Oh, some good shots there into the Brotherhood of the Sword. Not all of them are direct, though. But yeah, look at that. Far, far more effective than using them in like really indirect fire, not really being able to see the whole unit there. Variag Bowmen from Sin looking like they still have ammo. Nice thing to have. Certainly at this late point in the game. And now the same mistake being committed a second time as the Kindred of Celeborn and being thrown into combat, but they can't actually get to the front lines. They're just they're just sitting there, not contributing to anything. Let's turn it up a little bit here. Looks like Sin of the Dark Cloud is moving in with Variag Bowmen. And this is a bad place for the Elves of Lorien to be. I think this is where their army is going to fall apart. This might be a surprising defender victory. But let's see. Let's see how Mevin is doing on the other side. We won't concentrate too much on this. Looks like the remains of his army have clashed with these troops here. The Brotherhood of the Axe, and they're holding the line. Instead of the Dark Clouds come in from the rear with his cataphracts. And this might be the end. He does have, of course, Vine Guard that he can use. But I don't think that the Marksmen and the few remaining Glade Masters... Well, 32. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. And Mevin, not seeing those units... Not seeing the cataphracts come back for a charge. Looks like he tried to turn his Vine Guard around to get them back on the front lines. He's going to do that again. Like, why would you bother? Why not just park them here and then the cataphracts have to charge into brace spears? Very, very confusing decision making. Oof, nasty charge there. But they're unbraced, so the Spearmen won't be able to turn some of that charge value back at them. Some of the cataphracts will die, as they do kind of get themselves stuck in with the Spearmen and surrounded. I'm going to go up to 1.5 times speed here. Nice counter charge, I guess. Some of the Variag cataphracts going to die there, 2 or so of them. And then just leave them there. Just leave that unit and let the cataphracts charge into them. And let your Glade Masters kind of do their thing. It's not going to matter, though, I don't think. Oh, we're going to get into the Glade Masters. These guys are going to push their way through. And this is basically it, I think. So that's how that's going. Let's pop back on over here. Looks like Kindred of Celeborn have been brought down to deal with Variag Bowmen, but despite that, they are on defensive mode, so they will be able to shoot, even though they're being engaged in close quarters. So all the units that are not being currently hit by one of the Kindred of Celeborn will be able to continuously fire. And the Galathon Guardians, I think, are going to begin to fall apart here. Yep, those Storm Guards still in healthy condition. 58 of them. A little bit of the bug here, the infamous spear wall bug, where units will turn around. Unfortunate. These Variag Bowmen are being cut to ribbons by the Kindred of Celeborn. Oh, but they're going to charge from the rear. Sin of the Dark Cloud's cataphracts have just been everywhere at once in this battle. But also, how do you miss that? when you're Lothlorien and you have like 1 unit to micro, how do you let this happen? Oh, there go the Variag Bowmen. Yeah, that's pretty well it, and I think Mevin's army has been destroyed here as well. Just a handful of Vanguard remaining, and they will be hacked to death in short order by the Brotherhood of the Axe. I think there's some Temple Inquisitors, or Temple Executioners, whatever they're calling themselves nowadays, mixed in. Now the Kindred of Celeborn being thrown up there. I'm going to go ahead, fast forward now. This is basically the end. Yeah, the Guardians doing their best to hold back the tide, but I don't think they've actually managed to kill anybody. I think that's probably part of the issue, is that because of how awkward this is for them, that they might not even have been able to attack the whole time. They've just kind of been there and getting dunked on. Brotherhood of the Sword coming in from the rear. Yeah. I think that's maybe what happened, because none of these Stormguard have died at all. Some of the Halberds have, but I think this is just not an effective way to use those Guardians at all. Yeah, the Brotherhood of the Sword are barely taking any damage pushing into them, too. And thus perish the noble elves of Lothlorien. It's only a matter of time before these units are ultimately destroyed. Stormguard finally taking a little bit of losses, probably from the Kindred of Celeborn. Right now exhausted from having to fight uphill. That's basically it. Let's get in there, witness the final moments of this ragged band of Lorien. They came a long way from home, only to perish in the cursed city of Merlond, or MISTRAND, or I can't remember the name of it.
They have cut off the serpent's head. The general is slain.
And there goes the Lothlorien general, and I think the rest of the units are going to rout off from that. I don't know what else there's left from the attackers. Oh, what have we here? Oh, that's awesome. So there's one unit here from the Morquendi Glademasters. This is actually Mevin's general. He's the last man standing out of the thousands upon thousands who came to this city. This is the last one yet alive. Let's see what he manages to accomplish on his own. Turn that up just a little bit. What have we here? Yeah, the rest of those troops are wiping them out, and the Hashari Shadows are going to charge down this one lone warrior. Let's see what happens. Let's see if he manages to like take him out. That'd be kind of amazing. Be song-worthy. Oh, there goes one. There goes another. Oh, can he take the general before the swordsmen get there? I would be shocked. Oh, they're just gonna wait. They're gonna let this happen. They're honorable. And the chieftain of the Haradrim dueling the Dorwinian general. Well, he's not really attacking back. This guy's going full berserk mode on him. Looks like maybe he's gonna try and get away. Oh! It's a good shot there. They're both squaring off against one another. Let's see who comes out on top in this kind of honor blood duel. Oh, the knights are coming down. They might have something to say about this. Oh, and there goes the Haradrim general. Fantastic. What a good showing there from this poor little guy. Now they're going to give him an honorable death, see if he manages to take out any of these Brotherhood. Probably not. They got him surrounded on all sides. He's not actually attacking back at this point. In comes the general. Or rather the Cataphracts. Oh, that's going to be the end.
Let us drink of the most rare and glorious fruit.
Everybody parties! Woo! At the end, it was about 94 or 96 to 100, so about a 4% difference. This here is going to account for units that were quote-unquote healed, so don't worry so much about that. Damn, look at the kills there. let's see, Eclipse's army fairly evenly spread across the board. I don't think anything got below 45. The pikemen getting a little bit less, but it's kind of to be expected with the amount of skirmish fire that was available. And oof, this was definitely a tough one. There was a few mistakes, I think, that the defenders made, and the biggest were probably committed by their Lorien player. I think ultimately they had a chance, but in a lot of ways, Lorien's inaction lost the game for their team. So that's, yes, they've certainly brought shame on their house this day, unfortunately. But the defenders also played really well. The coordination was there. They were supporting each other basically at every turn, and whenever the defenders started to make ground, they would shift all of their attention onto that area and shut it down quickly and then move on to the next thing. They were very fluid. They were always looking for something that they could do to put a thorn in the defender's side. And I don't think, or the attacker's side rather, and I don't think the attackers did that to the defenders nearly as well. They did fairly well early on, and Tundra's Fox was playing the map in a lot of different places. There was, you know, that one mistake where he didn't use his Fountain Guard early on to block off that little pass there. And he could have put himself in such a way that he would have been at least shielded from the artillery and some other things. And then if everyone had moved in together all at once, supporting each other with the pikes, with the bows, doing everything all at once instead of the piecemeal attacks that they did, I think that this was a winnable fight for the attackers. And ultimately, in the later game, as things started to shape up, all of their mistakes kind of came back to haunt them. And even then, I think Lorien could have potentially pulled off a win, but unfortunately they're just too passive, and they ended up throwing away their most important units in some pretty foolish engagements. Yeah, but in any case, my name is Jordan, also known as JMonster. Thank you to Eclipse for sending me the replay, and for the players who played in it. Even the Lorien player, I know I gave him a hard time in this battle, but he still showed up. He still played his heart out. So thank you very much to everybody who participated. My name is Jordan, also known as JMonster. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.